Hey drivers, 76 Papa 10 Big D coming back at you. Check this out, man. I told you about the safer web. Now, you a truck driver. These are things that you need to keep up with. Told you about safer web on my last video. Told you about higher right and DAC reports that you need to get every year. If you don't get them every year, if you want to check on them every 6 months, I think it's like $9.95 you got to pay to do it. Here's one for you. FMCSA has a, sorry about the movement, y'all. There we go, we'll be still. FMCSA has a website. It's called a PSP report. That's where you find your CSA scores. You know how companies get CSA scores and they always tell you, well, our CSA scores are high, our CSA scores are low. You as a driver have to go into the FMCSA, put in your heading, put in there PSP, and behind that put FMCSA. That will pop up a website for you to be able to see your crash data, accidents that you've had, any out of services that you had, what your rate on out of services. See, because the companies are doing this. When they check on you, they're going to your PSP report. Okay? So when they go to your PSP report, it shows the company you work for, any vehicle violations or out of service, and it's going to show you on there how many times you were put out of service for a vehicle. If you have crash data, say you had an accident in the vehicle, always remember, if you get in an accident, two things, which an old guy told me one day, he said two things will have it reported. Okay? The first one is if the vehicle is towed. If the vehicle is towed, it will be reported. Okay? If the vehicle is not towed and the person is pulled away in the ambulance, it will be reported. Okay? If neither one of those two things happen, it won't be reported. But if the vehicle and the ambulance is towed, then you can expect to have a drug test, a vehicle inspection, and to be put out of service, because that's just precaution on DOT's side. But you want to get a copy of the FMCSA PSP report. I know in the last video I was telling you guys, damn, I forgot how to do the CSA. That's how you find your CSA score. Say you have a score too. They tell you, oh, it's only for the company. No, you have one too. It's under PSP FMCSA. You have to sign up. I believe it's $10. $10. You have to pay $10. And you can get everything right there on site, Johnny on site. In other words, as soon as you pay your $10, you hit view PDF. Be ready. Not on your phone, on a tablet or a computer or something. Pull up your PSP report. It's going to show you crash data. It's going to show you every time you've been put out of service. It's going to show you every violation that you had so far as the CSA. See, these are all things that people ain't telling y'all, man. Y'all need to know. So remember those three things and check out my last video and give me a thumbs up, man. Like I said, I'm not the best YouTuber out there. I don't have the top of the line mic. I don't have the best camera video. I don't have all that background stuff. I'm just putting fact out there for y'all so you know. We talk about a lot of things on here as truckers, but these are things that you need to know if trucking is your career, okay? You want to look up PSP FMCSA to see any crashes you've had, any inspections you've had. You can see your percentage. You can see what they put you out of service for, with what company, okay? And that's what's going to show on your PSP FMCSA report. Because the companies are doing it, you damn well better do your due diligence. You know, do your due diligence, because they're gonna pull these things. So it's called a PSP report on FMCSA. Again, I don't have to go over the safer web with you guys again, because That's how you find out about the company that you're going to work for. See, what people don't do, or what we don't do in this industry, and we need to teach these youngsters, old heads, is about old time factual information that they need. Okay? Stuff that's going to keep them in the business, so they don't go to the wrong company. Say for web, go to the wrong company and find out, damn, they got a conditional, now they're unsatisfactory, now they're closing their doors, or their insurance is lapsing. A lot of times what the young people don't realize is that a lot of these companies that are closing, they closing because their insurance is really the dictator of who they can hire and who they can't. You know, hey, this guy has a high CSA score, we can't hire him, or it's going to cost you more. And that's what they're looking at, cost. So if they're looking at cost, they're letting you know right off the bat, hey man, we can't hire you. And you wonder, well, why they didn't hire me, or why they didn't take a chance on me? Because they're looking at your PSP or your CSA. They call it PSP for us, but it's a CSA for the company. And every time that vehicle go in, you getting check marks for it too, because you as a driver, and that old word comes up again, are responsible. So you should be responsible enough to go on Safer Web and check out what's going on. The other one is a PSP report through FMCSA. That's going to show all your crash data. Like those guys that got into it in Louisiana. That's reported. You know, you'll see if it's a preventable, non-preventable. You can see all that on the PSP report. And then the same thing with hire right. You got to do these three things. Those three things right there: Safer Web, hire right for your DAC report, and PSP report FMCSA. Those three things plus the consortium. Those four things, you can know if you got a bad drug test or whatever. All of those things are on those four websites. You must remember that. PSP, FMCSA is what we're talking about right now. Last video was Safer Web and Hire Right or your DAC report. All right, I'm gone, y'all. That's it for today. Now you know. You got it from the OG old timer. Have a good day.